In today's video, we're going to be going over some of the best ways you guys can make your game look much better on console. This goes for whether you're on PS4 or PS5, as well as Xbox One and Series X. If you guys do enjoy the content and learn something new in today's video, be sure to drop this video a like, subscribe to the channel for more daily guides and tutorials for console players, and make sure you guys go hit that notification bell so you guys don't miss any more videos like this on the channel. We're going to go over 3 methods to make your game look much better. A lot of people do not talk about these topics, so we're going to try to touch base on everything. And if any of these tips do confuse you guys, let me know down in the comment section below. I'll try to help you guys out as much as I can. Alright guys, starting things off in the graphics section of Warzone, if you guys do have any of these things enabled, which is, world motion blur or wide motion blur, I highly recommend you guys disable these. This is going to make the game feel a lot better. You're not going to have too much trouble seeing people. There is someone sitting in the corner with a really dark skin. There's a much higher chance of you seeing them if they are, more of a defined and sharper outline versus them just being, blurry. So if you guys do have this set to enable, you guys can disable this. Now, if you guys do like to have motion blur or do want to have the extra little bit of FPS, then you guys can leave it on, but I highly recommend you guys turn it off if you guys are trying to have the best quality possible. Also, make sure you guys have your camera movement down to 50%. This is usually on 100%, which is going to give you a lot of camera shake. If you're getting, precision striked or cluster striked, you really cannot, aim straight or really focus in on an enemy if there's a lot going on around you. So, turn this down to 50% will help you guys focus more on your target while still being hit by, airstrikes. My film grain set to 0. Film grain just kind of makes this noise in the game, which is really weird. It makes these like specks, and it's really hard to look at for me. So film grain I usually leave at 0, and I do have my brightness set to 55. Now when it comes to on-demand texture streaming, there are 2 things you guys can do here. I really highly recommend you guys leave this disabled. Mine is set to standard quality right now because I actually just reinstalled Warzone, but I usually do have it set to disabled, and leaving this on will give your game more risk of having texture or rendering problems. Way back in the early days of Vanguard, you would have a lot of huge issues that came with leaving this setting on, so I highly recommend you guys set it to disabled. If you guys are having any texture issues with a game, then this actually might fix it if you guys have not switched this yet. Alright guys, moving over to interface. This has a little bit of things I use. I don't really use too much over here, and I'll show you guys exactly what I mean and other ways you guys can make your game look much better. But over here in the options setting, you have colorblind type and colorblind target, which you can play around with when it comes to color. But now I do have mine set to this one. I'm not going to try to pronounce that because personally I just do not know how to pronounce it. But depending on what you guys want to affect, you guys can affect the world, the interface, or both. So changing the interface is going to change the color of the names of your teammates or items on the ground. If you change the world, it's going to obviously affect the world, like cars, buildings, things like that. And then both obviously means both is going to add it to both interface and world. So you guys can have this on whatever you want. Me personally, I don't want to get confused when I'm trying to say orange or yellow or blue, so I just leave it on world. And over at the minimap shape, we do have this set to square. I do recommend you guys set to square. It's going to make your gameplay much better. You're going to be able to see people in those 4 bit of corners rather than having the circle shape, which you're not going to be able to actually see those people. So technically you have more range of UAVs if you have it on square versus circle. And that right there is mainly all I have set in the actual console. The other things you can do are outside, which has to do with capture card stuff as well as monitor settings. Alright guys, so as for monitor settings, if you guys are curious as to what I mean by this, basically there are things you can do with your television or your monitor, depending on which one you have, to actually increase the amount of saturation, the brightness, the sharpness, lots of really cool features that different TVs have. So I want to actually show you guys how you guys can go inside of your display and change those settings. Now I actually play on a BenQ monitor. I actually have an LG monitor as well as my second monitor, but I actually have a saturation setting that I could play around with and turn up the saturation, and like I said, I can turn up the brightness, the sharpness, etc. If you guys do have a television, there's a really good chance that you guys have these settings. Just about everyone has them. They might be named different things though. So for me, it could be called saturation. For you guys, it could be called color balance, color vibrance, different things like that. But I highly recommend you guys go into your monitor, take some time, get your television remote. It doesn't really matter what you guys play on television, monitor doesn't really matter. There's usually a lot of settings you guys can play with. You can even change the game to game mode, and sometimes that alone will increase the saturation and the brightness of the game to make it easier to spot enemies. But that's a really big one right there. A lot of people do not know about that, and that alone can make the game look much better without actually changing too much within the game. This right here is probably one of the craziest settings, but if you guys do try it out and you guys do apply it, trust me, it's going to be very worth it. And it could probably only take you but like 2 minutes to do, depending on how easy it is to navigate through your TV or your monitor. But yeah, I highly recommend you guys do this. It changed the game so much for me, and it makes the game so much pleasurable to look at. Alright guys, now the last thing I want to talk about is a capture card. A lot of the people don't know what these are, they don't know how they work. So I just wanted to explain this for those of you that are wondering how I'm able to stream in a much more colorful quality and much more high quality as usual. Well, I actually do have an Elgato capture card, and that's how I capture all of my gameplay from my PS4 to my PC to stream to you guys. Now, if you guys do not know, you actually can change the saturation and brightness and things like that in real time on the capture card. So when you change it on there on your PC, it's also going to change it for you as you're playing the game, which is really crazy. I honestly did not know this when I actually first purchased it. So when I tried it out for the first time and saw that my game was just much more saturated and much more colorful, it was just like an absolute shocker. So if you guys do have a capture card lying around, you guys do have settings to change the way it looks with the PC, then you guys can do that. If you guys do want help with that, you guys can join my Discord. I can actually walk you guys through it in my Discord, because it's different for everyone, and I don't want to actually say one thing and then you guys all have a bunch of different issues. So if you guys do want help with that, you guys can either ask me in the comment section below or join my Discord. Yeah guys, that's basically it when it comes to graphic settings for console. If this actually helped you guys out at all, if you guys want any other videos on this topic, be sure to drop them in the comment section below, and make sure you guys stay tuned to the channel because we're going to be going over some FPS settings as well as some audio settings for you guys. But with that being said, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace, love, and understanding always.